this generation, in defense of Gen Z, they're not hitting the milestones the way every generation before them did. They're owning homes at a lower rate. This is wild. 45% of people between ages 18 to 29 still live with their parents. They feel left behind by the economy, and they also see everybody trying to not age. So that they
please, get a job.
No, but they have jobs.
No, they have to work multiple jobs.
There's a million job openings in this country.
Life is so
get a job.
For any member of Gen Z, any of you Zoomers who might be watching this, if you feel left behind by the economy, The View's Joy Behar thinks that you need to quit your whining and just get a job. Now, interestingly enough, according to data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, a lot of Gen Zers do in fact have jobs. Now, who falls under the category of Gen Z? Well, it's people born between 1997 and 2012. So some of them are literally not old enough yet to have a job, but a lot of them who are old enough do in fact have jobs. Gen Z is more likely to work multiple jobs, 25% of them in fact, than the average professional, 16% according to McKinsey.
So, hey, good news, Joy, they listened. They have multiple jobs. That's not the issue. The issue is how much do their jobs pay compared to what they used to pay when you were coming up. How much do other things cost, like houses, as opposed to when you were coming up, student debt, as opposed to when you were coming up. Keep it real, Joy. And by the way, Joy used to be big time progressive. She then felt like she's like moving over to moderate / establishment Democrat. But that get a job is like right out of the Republican playbook.
Let's go to graphic 3 here. The current labor force participation rate among Gen Zers ages 20 to 24 is 71%, roughly 4 percentage points lower than millennials and 6 percentage points lower than Gen X when they were in the same age range. So I got a Gen Xer sitting next to me right now. Apparently you guys worked a little harder than millennials.
Yeah, well, look, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that we're the best generation.
Okay, but to be fair, millennials graduated into the recession in 2008. So I'm sure that played a role as well. But anyway.
But you know what I say to that? Get a job.
Okay, and by the way, I would venture to say that the other portion of the Zoomers who are not employed are probably still going through their schooling. Remember the age group or the age range I gave you was 20 to 24. A lot of people are still in college at that time. So anyway, I have a theory on all of this because I don't think that Joy Behar was annoyed at, Zoomers feeling uneasy about their economic future or feeling as though they've been left behind by the economy. I think there was something else at play because that same study that they were talking about referenced other things that Zoomers are concerned about. So let's take a look at what that is.
Apparently, Generation Z, those are the folks born between the years 1997 and 2013. They apparently are terrified about turning 30. They are panicked social media threads from 20-somethings worried about losing their stamina, sex appeal, value as they age.
Ridiculous.
And that they'll have nothing to look forward to other than wrinkles, health issues, and death.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's true. They should be scared.
Yeah.
They're correct. And no, but what be like the gaggle of gals sitting there, right? All of these older women, let's keep it real, who are laughing because they find it ridiculous, but they forget that the vast majority of people don't have cushy TV daytime jobs, right? Where they're still raking in the big bucks and they don't have to worry about their financial future. For a lot of Americans, in fact, most Americans, once you hit a certain age, if you get fired, if you're in your 50s and you lose your job, you get laid off. Do you know how difficult it is for them to find another job? Do you know how rampant age discrimination is in the workplace? So listen, it's easy for them to laugh about those fears, but those fears are real. And I would venture to say that the people who are actually out of touch are not the Zoomers who are concerned about that. It's the people sitting on that panel.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of things here. In the old days, people would, if they were anchors, would panic once they got into their 50s because they were worried they were going to get fired and more attractive men and women were going to get hired in their place.
Women, let's keep it real.
More women, but
the
men
would age age. I mean, like barely functioning, like they're freaking like drooling on themselves. But it's okay, he's a dude, so it's totally fine. But it was different for the women.
But nowadays, the TV audience is so old, no disrespect, but they're usually in their 70s. So they like women who are older, and that's why they have job security, and so they feel like, what are you talking about? Things got way better for us. We became like gazillionaires when we got older. Yeah, but that's not usually how it works, right?
As you get older, people that you love start passing away, okay? Your body does change, there's no stopping it, right? Even all the billionaires out there who think they can stop the aging process with all their money and resources fail to do so, because you can't F with nature in that way. You're gonna age. Your body doesn't function as well as it used to. Like, yeah, there are a lot of bad things that happen as you age.
No,
and it's okay to acknowledge that.
Of course, that's
so enjoy now. Enjoy now. It doesn't get better.
No,
enjoy now.
So look, it's complicated. So does your body wear down? Of course, that's just a fact, right? But I think that I've gotten a lot wiser as I've gotten older. I used to believe a lot of nonsense stuff when I was younger.
And did that make your life better, Cenk?
I think it did, yeah.
I think ignorance is bliss in this country.
Well,
okay.
I'm especially over the last 4 years, I got way happier, right? And I was already pretty happy to begin with, right? So it depends on your situation. So I think that there are some upsides to growing older, but overall, yeah, physically it's worse. Of course, the worst of it, and this I've also experienced, is your metabolism slows down. And everyone who hits that wall is always confounded. They're like, I don't get it. I used to be able to eat this and be fine, and now I eat half of it, and it doesn't.
It's so messed up. It's so wrong.
Sucks. It's true.
It's wrong. Okay, like why didn't evolution fix that? Okay, oh, evolution. Oh, it's so great. It's so great. But they couldn't figure out the metabolism thing?
They couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, nature. It's messed up. And then
yeah, nature. Why don't you look into fixing evolution? Fix your face, nature.
Yeah, 100%. And then look, the metabolism is one part of it, but the other part is difficulty in maintaining the gains. Right? Like you got some muscle tone, you took care of yourself when you were younger, which by the way, keep doing that, because things like stay together a little better as you get older when you're exercising and taking care of yourself when you're younger. But there's no stopping what happens to muscle tone, right? Like if you have like some natural muscle tone, like you don't really do much in weightlifting, it's gonna be gone. Like you hit 35 and that's it. Like one day you're gonna be in a salsa class with your husband. You're gonna look in the mirror and you'll be like, what happened to the small amount of muscle tone I had?
Nah.
No, it's true. It's true. Then you have to lift weights.
Yeah.
At home as you're watching Real Housewives of New York City. Okay. It's messed up.
So first of all, I'm still super strong, not a big deal. Okay, no, but seriously, we got a little far afield here. Back to Gen Z for one last comment, which is, look guys, the problem isn't, hey, are they all lazy? Are they all this or are they all that? As I've said many times, it's a class issue. The people who are Gen Z and work at The View or intern at The View are usually pretty rich. So you don't get to that job usually if you're poor or middle class. Very, very, very hard to break in. It's usually someone you had to go to the right colleges, blah, 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 right? So they deal with the snootiest Gen Z people in the country, the ones that don't want to work, that did grow up entitled, etc. But that's not all of Gen Z. They just don't have any interaction with the Gen Z guy who had to take the Burger King job after coming out of a good college because there were no other jobs, right? And then yelling at him to get a job doesn't help the situation. If you enjoyed this video, that's because of our members. They make us independent, they make us strong, and they make us honest. Become a member today by hitting the join button below.